Good Friday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street. I'm David Faber with Jim Cramer. We are live from Post 9 at the New York Stock Exchange. Carl has the morning off. Happy Friday, everybody. Let's give you a look at futures, of course, as we get started with the final trading session of the week. As you can see, set up for, well, I guess we'll call that a slightly higher open. You ready? You good? You all right?
No, I'm not ready. I've been up since 3 o'clock. What are you talking to me?
All right, I'm sorry. I got to talk to you. That's the show. All right, let's start with our roadmap, though, this morning, because he doesn't seem to want to talk. It begins with the state of stocks as the Dow and the S&P get closer to new milestones. Plus, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says, all right, he wants to stay in the job at least 5 more years. We'll talk about that. They say he was joking. And the U.S. and Taiwan reaching a trade agreement that will allow for the building of chips and chip fabs here on American soil. The deal has a total value over, obviously, a lot of time of $250 billion. Speaking of chip manufacturing, Micron CEO, he's going to join us in a first on CNBC, talk about that company's plans for upstate New York, where it is building some big fabs as well. Let's start with the markets. Chip sector on track to extend its rally. The S&P 500 continues that march toward the 7,000 mark. What are your thoughts on this fine morning, very cold morning here in New York?
Once again, what's happened is, and we talked to Sanjay Mehrotra, people misjudged. They misjudged the amount of business. But I think it's important to talk about, I will ask Sanjay. Last year at this time, Micron had a bad miss. They projected wrong. They projected too much. They had a lot of inventory. Obviously, since then, amazing things have happened. But this shortage is the making of the market. Sanjay, I was very bullish a year ago. I came out on this show and said some things about high bandwidth memory that were aggressive. Mm-hmm. And Sanjay called me and told me that I was too bullish. And I look back, he was too bearish, but he had the shortfall because he had too much inventory. I want people to understand why this happened, okay? This is not a shortfall that was manufactured in order to be able to raise prices. It wasn't manufactured at all. There was no way you could see this. I think that's why.
It was just, what, a result of the enormous demand coming from everything we talk about?
Look, here I'm looking at. This is from 2024. We expect industry DRAM bit demand growth to be in the high teens. No, it's in the 20s. I mean, he said the bit supply growing roughly in line with bit demand. That was wrong. NAND bit demand growth in calendar 2024 and 25 now low double digits. Completely wrong.
Right.
And I'm not saying that means that Sanjay was not good. He was the best. He was the best, and he got it wrong. I think that's the point.
All right. Well, we're going to have a chance to talk to him, but what's the larger point you're making here?
That we have an insane demand, whether it be power, and we're going to get to PJM, which is the utility index that's under fire, the utility group's under fire, whether it be DRAM. We just don't have enough. And people have to understand that this shortage is impacting everything, making it so that everything's more expensive. And the powers the PJMs make it so everything's more expensive. This has caught everyone by unaware, including the principal company that we all needed to do it with Taiwan Semi. And all I'm saying, David, is that this is one where people couldn't have foreseen it. Sanjay had the best vision of everyone, and he couldn't foresee it. That's how
it's not as though a year ago, Jim, we were not sitting here and talking about the enormous demand for NVIDIA chips, for all the compute you could possibly get your hands on, for data centers and power. We've been talking about that for well more than a year now.
Look at who you said saw it coming. Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang is here, and everyone else is there. Jensen knew. Jensen saw it coming. People should have listened to Jensen Huang. They should have listened to him. They didn't.
Well, who's the they that didn't?
Everyone.
That's not true. There are plenty of people who benefited enormously, both from
Western Digital,
the move. By the way,
SanDisk,
a lot of these,
Seagate.
Right, that it's sort of those stocks have been the real beneficiaries. NVIDIA, nobody's going to complain about a 41% gain over the last year.
Jensen, people thought at GTC, the conference we laid out things, that he was way too bullish, that he was, frankly, dreaming with the Vera Rubin, dreaming with the Richard with the Feynman. That's the next.
Yeah, the next generation.
And he saw it. but he would tell you, my job, I see things out 20 years and then I work backward. Now, don't forget, Jensen, he's going to tell you that with the work that David Ricks and he's doing at Lilly, we're 100, being 100.
Yeah, that caught your attention at the J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference, where they talked about the ability to extend life and then potentially
they talked about the
extend life for a very long time. Yes.
Well, forever was discussed. I think that was a little more science fiction. Remember Asimov? It's kind of an Asimov thing.
Isaac Asimov.
But
yes.
I want to point out that Jensen did, and others didn't. He understood the demand. He went to Taiwan Semi, and they believed in him.
So what does all that have to do with the price of the S&P, my friend?
No, I'm just talking about the crisis that we have in this country right now.
Crisis.
Well, the growth, 3 times deviation, 6.7%. We don't have it on the grid. We can't do it. There's a gating factor. This is the Michael Sembles theory, the chief strategist.
We will not have enough power. By the way, I mean, you talk to them. I try and talk to as many people in this ecosystem as I can, and I have had conversations with the CEOs of, let's call them data center companies, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of them think that, that a lot of what's being drawn up is ultimately going to be built in part because they won't have the power. I think that in the industry, it's not even a secret. It's kind of known. I mean, they're going to build a lot, but not as much as everybody says because you don't have access to the power.
Then I want to take numbers up Meta because they're the ones that are committed to spending the most. I might take numbers up Microsoft.
Unless you continue to gain efficiency that goes beyond what might be thought, and therefore you may ultimately not need as much in the out years. Let's call it 5 years from now. Or is it just, no matter how efficient the chips become, you're just going to have more and more of them because you need more compute. You're going to be doing even more things. By then, we may be at AGI. Who knows?
Right. And remember, it's behind the meter. They won't do that. They won't let them because that's a way to be able to get power with, just hog power. They're trying to stop. President Trump's trying to stop the hogging of power. PJM is a cooperative.
Yeah, it's cooperative.
Over its head. I don't know if you looked
at New Jersey down the Northeast
coast. I don't know if you've read the document.
It includes Virginia, where, of course, we have so many data centers. And yes, there is an effort being made now to try to figure out ways for these companies, the hyperscalers, to basically fund their own power plants. You see it there, build their own power plants.
Yeah, but
have them be a part of the grid at some point.
I'm reading the January 14, 2026 PJM load forecast. This is 60 million more than payers, and it says the 2026 long-term load forecast is lower than the 2025 long-term forecast. Lower.
Meaning they won't have as much power.
The forecast.
They're not expecting as much to be used.
Well,
that's wrong.
Well, you are a genius.
Thank you. I thought it.
But anyway, I go here. Now, let's back. You want to talk about the market? That's fine.
I want to talk about the market.
I'm sorry. I just am so hot under the collar about this.
You made your points.
And I shaved this point. I cut myself so hot under the collars. I don't know if the blood came up.
No, you're fine. There's no blood there. Yeah.
So let's talk about the overall market.
Yeah, can we do that?
The overall market is being led by companies we've never heard of. Russell. When you go down, what you see are, you're seeing flying helicopters and drones, and you're seeing tertiary companies that make power plants. You're seeing things that will never come to fruition. Oklo. But, Oklo and Sam's there. And I want to talk to you about something that's probably the most important story today that everyone's ignoring.
Tell me, what?
What happens if Elon Musk stops OpenAI?
Well, you know that I was the one. I think not just last week. I reported on this lawsuit actually going to trial.
Well, it was meant to be a soft pitch.
It
meant to be that I gave you a Dodgers versus everybody else thing.
Unbelievable. What are the Dodgers doing? $60 million a year.
I don't know. I thought there was
baseball
like a
ever going to stop
Defer. I want to defer. I'm deferring your answer.
What is their luxury tax going to be about? All right, but the point you're making is that this lawsuit from XAI against OpenAI, really from Musk against OpenAI, which we've talked about, alleging fraud, is going to trial a little bit later than we'd reported last week because the judge pushed it out a little bit.
With that lawsuit?
And it is interesting that what OpenAI is saying, right? I'm trying to find it. They're saying you're going to hear a lot of things and you shouldn't believe them.
Oh.
There it is.
What is that?
Outlandish claims.
A lot of things you shouldn't believe.
But your point is the correct one, which is what would happen to OpenAI were and if Musk was to prevail. I don't know is the answer because we don't know what the remedy would ultimately be.
Well, would you be in a, let's say, $1 trillion private offering? Would you be anxious to get stock in something that might be destroyed by Elon Musk?
Yeah, that's a concern. It's a risk.
Now, Elon Musk is
by the way, there are any number of
plays with. It's play though. It's
there
played
are
out.
any number of other risks when it comes to OpenAI. There is also a lot of opportunity. Those who own OpenAI shares right now, private company, would say.
Well, I just wanted to put it out there because I'm going for the themes that are behind the scenes. I am happy to talk about the bond market and how the 10-year stayed where it is. I'm happy to talk about these Fed lunatics who come on and think that they have the right to be able to confuse our policy. There should be a shut-up policy. A shut-up policy. They don't do us any good. We're trying to grow this country. We're not trying to say what's going to happen and what's not.
On the OpenAI Musk versus OpenAI, they did in a letter that they sent to employees. OpenAI said they believe the case is worth no more than the $38 million that Elon donated. Were that to be the case, it obviously would not be of great importance. As you might imagine, Elon and his lawyers believe otherwise.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
He's like the Justice Department.
As we get closer
the old Justice
into
Department.
the spring, we will start to follow that a lot more closely.
Okay, I know that I truncated what we should have been talking about, but I don't believe that. Because I think that this PJM story, I think that the power story, I think that the Micron story are really important, more important than where the averages are right now, unless you want to decide, you know what, Boeing is the best.
Boeing
Remember
shares
you laughed
are.
At me at Boeing?
That's a long time ago.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Never forgets. Never forgives. You never forgive.
I never complain, and I never explain. Who said it?
Who did
Henry
it?
Ford.
Henry Ford.
Great man, maybe.
Really? You want to go there?
Not at all.
Historical record might say otherwise at this
It was
point.
just a cheap shot.
Okay. Elders of the Protocols of Zion.
Well,